Hi! So, I'm back here again. So soon after Wonka, I did say I might be coming back here in a couple of days, and well, here I am. And Aquaman. Aquaman is the movie of the hour this time around. Uh, I kind of wanted to watch Aquaman first before Wonka. Kind of, problem that they both came out around the same time. I think Wonka might have come out a week earlier and I just missed it, but for the most part they both came out at the same time. I figured, since I kind of was late to the party on both, Aquaman would have been the more sold out, so I just went to Wonka, which was still a very respectable attendance, but now it's Aquaman, which I simply cannot wait for. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I loved Aquaman before it was cool to love Aquaman. Like, I've never been on the bandwagon of making fun of the character, but once his movie was announced, I, like the crazy person that I am, went back and just read every single Aquaman comic from 1943. Yes, you heard that. All the way up to 2018, which is when the movie came out. For some reason I just stopped after that. I can't remember why I did, but I know my way around Aquaman. Let's put it that way. And I absolutely loved the first Aquaman movie, which kind of left up a lot of open questions, since considering they basically kind of did every notable major Aquaman storyline in that one movie. So no idea what they've got in store for us in this one. Obviously, most people have already seen it by the time you're watching this, so my review is not that special. But I'm here anyway, so gotta get going. See you then, my man. Yep, finally got a bit of Aquaman playing in the background. This is how I have to get creative, when there isn't a poster of a movie I'm talking about. But yeah, so Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. Only got a couple seconds before the trailer ends, but I loved it. I love it. Now, I will say this. It's not as good as the first one, but the first one, that's not an indication of this movie being not good. It's just, the first one's just so good. Like, really that good. One of my favorites of that year, as a matter of fact. And boy, oh boy, that was a great year for movies. And there we go, the trailer ended. So moving back here again, I guess. But yeah, so the 2018 Aquaman was just the best way to end that year. And yeah, it was a time that it's not coming back anymore. This one, though, it was well worth the wait. James Wan, I think he outdid himself in the first Aquaman, but this is another hit. This is another major hit from James Wan. Like I said, worth the wait. I think there were like reports of him saying that they're not gonna make an second Aquaman movie because he's waiting for the right script or whatever. The script wasn't, bombastic. It wasn't like greatest of all time, but like I said, well worth the wait. I really enjoyed it. It really did help develop most of the areas from the first Aquaman movie that we didn't really get to see as much, and that's kind of a problem because first Aquaman, they managed to squeeze in a lot in the first one, and while I did love it, didn't quite get to spend enough time on some of the things from the first movie. Like, for example, all the different Atlantean kingdoms, right? We didn't really get to see too much of the Brine Kingdom or the Fisherman Kingdom, whatever. We get to see more of that in this one, and it's great. The design of the underwater cities in this movie is so good. We get to see much more of the creatures, the underwater dwelling creatures of Atlantis and all these other underwater locations, and they're great. Like, yeah, I mean, it could get a bit, you know, overly CGI-fest at times, but the designs are good. There's some good intentions there, and there's some really good comedic opportunities with all these different creatures. There is one character in particular that I think was really well handled. Both the design, the effects on the creature, and the voice performance was really good. And yeah. Also, speaking of the creatures, slightly related, the vehicles. The vehicle design, I'm gonna go ahead and say it rivals some of the vehicle designs in Star Wars. And I don't use that lightly. I mean, Star Wars has always been iconic for its revolutionary starship design, vehicle design, and whatnot. This one really rivals it. Now, of course, that does have a slight advantage of the vehicles primarily being based off of sea creatures we're familiar with. So that gives us a little bit of a visual advantage. But still, the vehicles in this movie are great. I would love Lego sets of all of these. Now, on to the characters and the performances by the actors. This, I might have said this before, but if I haven't, I'm gonna put my stamp of approval on it. Jason Momoa was born to play this character of Aquaman, specifically this version of Aquaman, which is, you know, significantly different from the comic book version of Aquaman, but you know what? It fits him like a glove. It's like he's amazing. That's just like a perfect casting for a superhero character, a comic book superhero, and just, you know, they really did struck gold with this casting. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we've got Amber Heard back as Mera in this movie, and I do have some issues with Amber Heard still being a part of this movie, but I do think that my issues should be kept out of this review. That's a conversation for a different type of video, and probably a discussion for somewhere other than my channel. Let's put it that way. There was less of her than I was expecting in this movie, which, considering my issues, I'm perfectly fine with it. But in the scene she's in, I think she does a good job. You know, still the same character from the previous movie. Not much character development for her, now that I think about it. Yeah, she didn't really move much. But yeah, that's that. Nicole Kidman is back, and she's really good. She's got some really cool action scenes, really cool action moments, much more than the first one. Tamora Morrison is also back again. You know, still very funny, still very comedic. Not as funny as, you know, the icon, him being as Boba Fett in the Boba Fett series. You know, I was expecting that they were going to reference a joke about like a bantha meme that really took off, but they didn't. Spoilers. But well, still nice to see him again. Who else? So yeah, Patrick Wilson back as Ocean Master, and it's such a great inclusion in this movie. All the character development that didn't happen with Mera apparently went to him, because he really you can really tell that this is a two-man performance, being Aquaman himself, played by Jason Momoa, and Orm, played by Patrick Wilson, which is great. And, you know, their dynamic, their brotherliness, I think I just invented another word, their brotherliness in this movie is really the driving force behind most of the plot of the movie, and it works. It really does pay off gloriously. And of course, you gotta talk about Yahya Abdul-Mateen II back as Black Manta. Black Manta is one of my favorite comic book villains. And yes, I just said that. I did mention earlier up top that I loved Aquaman before it was cool to love Aquaman. And Black Manta is really just, I think, a perfect villain for Aquaman. All due respect to Orm the Ocean Master in the comics, and all due respect to other Aquaman villains, I mean, just Black Manta is the Joker to Aquaman's Batman. He is the Lex Luthor to his Superman. He is the Green Goblin to his Spider-Man. Like, he is the Magneto to his Xavier. I can go on and on, so please stop me. But yeah, so Black Manta, he means business, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen does it great. And you know, he's a really great threat for Aquaman in this movie. Randall Park, I think, was good in this movie. There's a little bit more of the John Rhys Davies character from the first movie. He's a lot more in this one. He's funny. I mean, I'm just loving, you know, the fact that they got Gimli, you know, into being an Aquaman movie. Sadly, no Willem Dafoe, which kind of sucks. I think it was really good in the first one, but it's not in this one. Whatever. You know, actors got to do what actors got to do. And Dolph Lundgren, really great, and has got some really cool moments in this movie as well. Yeah, so I will say this before I wrap up. Without spoiling too much, there is the whole taking out the villain moment, which, you know, it's not a spoiler. It's, you know, it's expected of any movie, especially superhero movies these days. So you know, again, without spoiling, you know that there's gotta be a moment where the hero makes his hero stand and takes out the villain, right? It's one of my favorites of any superhero movie. I'm not gonna quite put it up with the I am Iron Man snap moment or others, but it's, I would say, on the same level as speaking of Magneto using the coin on Kevin Bacon's forehead. Yeah, similar to that, but better. Like, it's really awesome and badass, and yeah, like I said, one of my favorites. So yeah, there is a mid-credit scene in this movie. No post-credit scene, nothing at the end of the credits. Once the credits stop rolling, there's some cool logos at the end, which kind of makes you wonder why did they put them at the end of the movie, but whatever. But there is a mid-credit scene, you know, between the whole big animation extravaganza where they show all the names of the actors and then just cut to the black screen with the scrolling credits. There is a mid-credit scene in between that. Now, it doesn't set up for anything because, well, you know, there isn't nothing else to set up, since, you know, this is kind of the end of this little experiment that they used to call the DC Expanded Universe, or whatever they were calling it. Kind of a shame, but yeah. So the mid-credit scene, it's not a must-watch. It's funny if you're into that sort of things, and it's a joke that started in the movie itself. I just think it's gonna rub some people the wrong way. So again, I'm really trying hard not to spoil what it is, but I'd say it's not something you have to watch. And, you know, it could make some people a little uncomfortable. I'll say this, there's a moment that happens about halfway through the movie that could make some people uncomfortable, and if you are uncomfortable by that moment, you really do not need to watch that mid-credit scene. I'm not sure if I was selling it right, but that's really the best way I can say it without actually saying what happened, without spoiling anything from the movie. So yeah, that's it. Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom. it's kind of sad to see the DC Expanded Universe go, but at least they went out on a high note. And you know, only time will tell what the future holds for any further DC movies coming up. At least we got what we got. And I think the two Aquaman movies are some of the better ones that came out of this universe. That's it. That's all I have to say. And can't wait to have just more movies next year. Hopefully that next year will be much more fruitful with much more movies and much better visits to the movie theater. And most importantly, just, you know, I hope next year is better than this year, which, you know, living in the 2020s, that's very wishful thinking that I think, you know, I think I kind of gave up on that a long time ago. But yeah, it's been a terrible year. But, you know, all you really can do is just hope for the better, and hope that next year won't be as bad as this one was. That's all I can say. So, go see Aquaman, and Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. Goodbye. Hi there. Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.